Hey you guys, welcome and welcome back to Mom Jeans by NUTCASE. I am the NUTCASE Case Nicole, and I'm back again because I just feel like black men are doomed. Black men are doomed. Black men are doomed. Have mercy, God. Black men are doomed, okay? And I'm about to talk about it because the things that we are experiencing right now, just astrologically speaking and spiritually speaking in our society, in our universe, it's, to me, in my lifetime, unprecedented. I've never experienced a time like this in my life, and it's just very eye-opening. So today, with me saying that black men are doomed, I know it's not all of them, but a majority of them are doomed. And I want to tell black women why they need to be mindful. That's something that you're always going to hear me talk about, is discernment and being mindful and having balance on this channel. But black women need to be aware. They need to be aware of why black men are doomed. And they need to be mindful that they do not fall within the same categories and follow down the same trajectory of a path that is being walked by so many black men. Because they're doomed. Listen, I don't care how anybody feels about it. This is how I feel. I want to make sure that I voice my opinion because I have something important to say. So, if common sense and discernment are held within your DNA, be sure to hit that subscribe button, guys. Be sure to hit that like button because over here on Mom Jeans, we keep it real. But we keep it real in a different way. We talk about the emotional side of situations, and I may not always have a lot of facts to back up what I'm saying, but being a person who has cultivated a spiritual business and seeing so many situations where people's psyche, mental state, and spiritual state is tested on a regular basis, I understand a lot of deeper emotional issues that many people don't want to address. And with me also experiencing so much emotional trauma and overcoming it to a point where I have become confident in who I am, I feel like it's important now for me to speak on what I've learned and to speak on what I'm observing. So if you're interested and you want to stick around for this convo, be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe, you guys. Be sure to leave me a comment below on how you feel about what I'm saying and any opinions that you have regarding this topic. And without further ado, let's get into it. All right, you guys, so I'm going to make this very quick because I know that there are a lot of people talking about these topics. There are a lot of people who are talking about the manosphere, the black manosphere, black women, black men, relationship dynamics, and things like that amongst the African American community. But one thing that I have noticed as far as the difference between black women and black men, and the reason why I feel that black men are doomed, is because they, for whatever reason, have an inability to address their trauma. And I know that people have already talked about this a lot, but they really have a deep-seated problem that stems back generation upon generation upon generation where they fail to deal with their trauma. When people fail to deal with their trauma, no matter what race, ethnicity, religion, background, it's a situation where it is going to bleed out of you within your everyday actions and the way that you view the world. So the glasses, the lens that you see this world as is going to be skewed by the trauma that you have not dealt with. It's called shadows. It's your shadow. You have a light side and you have a dark side. And that's okay. Everybody's got a light and a dark side. Sometimes I can be a little bitchy. Sometimes I can be a little demanding. But I also have good qualities that outweigh those negative qualities. And I have found techniques to where I can manage those darker qualities and make sure that I'm not projecting them onto the world, at least as best as I can, because no one's perfect, right? But I feel like the lack of accountability and the lack of focus that black black men have had for their trauma has created a projectile vomit of negativity within our race and amongst our people. And the main victim of this projectile is black women. So as a black woman, I've experienced everything from mental abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse, physical abuse, and it's all come from one black man or another in my life. Now, what I am going to say as a disclaimer, which is in the description box below, I am not a medical, legal, or psychological professional. I am just a spiritual personality on YouTube. I read tarot cards, I see situations, I do personal readings, and I understand through deductive reasoning, observation, discernment, and common sense that there is a major problem with the way that black men deal with their trauma. And I know thousands of people have said this, but it goes a lot deeper because there are categories of trauma that people deal with. There are certain levels of trauma that people deal with, and everyone's trauma is different. But what that trauma ultimately stems from is spiritual attachments. So when you have spiritual attachments, it can be attachments from your ancestors, which means the people who came in your family bloodline before you. It can be attachments from past lives that you've had before you even were born into this body. And it can also be attachments that you bring in throughout the everyday function of your life. Now, I in no way, shape, or form claim to be an expert. These are just my opinions from what I've observed working within the spiritual community. And seeing as black men have absorbed all of these entities and spirits and haven't dealt with them, they haven't cleansed them, it's like they're just in this repeated cycle, this repeated loop of destruction that I feel like they either cannot realize that they're in or they don't care that they're in. My personal opinion leads more towards them not caring what cycles of trauma that they're in and continually perpetuating that trauma and projecting it out onto the world. For example, if you have a person who unfortunately may have diabetes, right? Sometimes their body can often emit a certain smell that is indicative of their illness, right? So if you think about it in terms of black men and you think about it spiritually and just human beings as a whole, that is the same thing with your aura. That is the same thing with your energy. You are emitting off certain vibrations and waves of energy that are either positive or negative. And they can change depending on whatever mood that you're in or depending on whatever experiences have been piled on to the growth of your life. There are some people who can identify these energies and omissions, and there are some people who can't. Some people who can identify these omissions are more sensitive than others. Me personally, I'm an empath. I can tell by walking into a room sometimes the type of energies that I need to stay away from and the type of energies that I'm safe around. I cleanse myself regularly with sage and Palo Santo, and I make sure that I take sometimes multiple baths and showers a day because energy can latch onto you. And I feel like what black men don't realize is that after the centuries of oppression that yes, they have received and yes, they have been put down, there has not been a cleansing of that energy. And through the buildup and the blockage that is being created by this shaken up Coke bottle of energy, they are projecting negativity out onto the world through everyone that they meet. And not dealing with it is the reason why they are doomed to fail. A repercussion of not dealing with that trauma is the fact that they have failed their women. You don't see any other race of men, which I'm sure you guys have heard from any of the other intelligent, astute, established black female creators. They have failed their women. There is no other race of men in this world who have failed their women to the degree that black men have failed their women, their children, and their people. That is ultimately a part of the catalyst to their downfall. And a lot of them don't see it that way. Now, there are some that do. And like I said earlier, no one is perfect. But for there to be such a majority of individuals who do not work towards or build anything for the race of people that they are included within, it shows a great deal of spiritual dishevelment, if that's the right word. I feel like they are just disoriented and they refuse to address the disorientation. And being as they have failed their women, that is additional karma that is being piled onto them, that instead of dealing with, they are trying to run from. Whenever you try to run from your karmic lessons or your karmic repercussions, whether they are so quote unquote positive or negative, or whether they are rewarding or challenging bits of karma, you can't run from it. It's gonna happen regardless. Like I've spoken about before, there are certain universal laws. No matter who you believe, I believe in God, but no matter who you believe in, no matter what deity you worship, there are certain universal laws that cannot be avoided, and balance is one of them. There's going to be balance in a situation. And for me, the karma for the betrayal of the Black woman and the Black child by Black men has not been answered for, and no one wants to take accountability, which leads me to my next point of why Black men are doomed. Okay, they're doomed. They take no accountability. They take no accountability for their actions. They have no resilience throughout struggles and trials and tribulations. They're not motivated to do anything or create any type of initiatives for the most part, right? Because there are people out there who are doing things. Of course, I know this. Don't act like that's not what I'm saying. But a majority of them are not. And when you are a part of a collective, the entire collective is affected by those quote unquote bad seeds. There's no way around it. And fourth and lastly, they don't have any teamwork, which is why I speak on the collective. There are a lot of Black men who will say, well, not all Black men are this way. And some of us are doing what we're supposed to do. But that's the point. When you have a collective of souls and you are a part of that collective, yes, on an individual level, you need to do what you need to do to be the change that you want to see. However, unfortunately, the whole collective is going to be affected by how the most negative piece is operating within the whole unit. That's why I feel like Black women are so determined now to separate themselves from Black men, because as a whole, we no longer want to be included in that collective. So this is what I have to say for Black women, and why Black women need to be very mindful right now of how they move and operate. As you may know, as a Black woman, you are being blamed for a lot of the problems within the Black community and that Black men have. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are to blame, but you are being blamed. Know, Black women, that this is a part of your karma too. Because in some instances of the universe, there are times when an innocent party may be punished due to association with a guilty party. And I'm not trying to say that I am the decider or the judge on who's guilty or innocent. I'm not a judge. I'm just commenting on how I feel and speaking my opinion. But what I've noticed within society in any relationship is that if you stay with someone or deal with someone, have a group of friends, associate with people who are doing negative things, those negative things ultimately reflect back onto you, the company you keep, right? So as far as Black women are concerned, we need to be very mindful at this time of the company that we keep. Speaking from a spiritual standpoint, if your energy is too much associated with Black men and what they're doing, and you are either pacifying or justifying the negativity, you want to be very mindful of that. Because at the end of the day, you may have good intentions, but all of the good intentions in the world cannot change a person or a situation that does not want to change. All of the effort in the world will not be able to move an immovable object. And right now, if you speak about Black men, they are fixed. They're fixed. They're stuck in their ways. They want things to be a certain way. And as Black women, I feel like right now, the number one priority is that we get out the way, which I know has been expressed, but I'm saying it from a standpoint of your soul and your spirit and these esoteric things that a lot of us find unexplainable. The second thing that I want Black women to be aware of is that we need to make sure that we are learning from the example that is being set by Black men and the actions that they have taken, along with the repercussions that we see happening. We need to make sure that we are not acting in the same ways. No accountability, no resilience, no motivation, no teamwork. We need to understand that those parts of that downfall that we see in Black men need to be eradicated from us as Black women if we want to clear the karma that we have created for ourselves. And it's true, we've created the karma for ourselves. And when I say that, it's because we have suppressed the truth about what has been going on within our community for centuries. this. And that's okay, because life is all about learning. There's no judgment here. Honestly, there's no judgment for Black men either. But what is happening is that the universal laws are starting to execute themselves onto Black men. And as Black women, we just need to get out the way. So you guys, thank you so much for being here. If you've enjoyed this content and what I have said in this video, please be sure to leave me your comments below. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you so much for everyone who has supported the channel. If you guys want any type of spiritual advice, I have a channel for the collective, I have a channel for Pisces, and I have a channel specifically for Black women if you are interested in tarot guidance or spiritual guidance. I also offer personal readings, but that's completely up to you. All I ask is that you guys share this video with one Black woman that you love, and I hope and pray that you are enjoying and getting the most out of your lives. So as always, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And remember, that's why they call them mom jeans, honey, because everybody can't fit in them. Keep it cute. Bye.